Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our AMA. We have some interesting developments to share with you, some important news, and we're going to talk about everything that's going on across the project. It should be a fun one. Herman is here to give the core updates and fill us in on what's going on that end of things. So if he's ready, I'll just hand you over to him now.
Yeah, so I'm asking for another developer to join. Okay, he'll join if he joins. So, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today is a pretty good day for Cherry. We have deployed our EVM parachain as we described according to the specification described last AMA. The parachain is currently syncing or collating, or I forget which is the most appropriate verb, to the testnet. A testnet which has been upgraded by a bunch of versions, so it's nice and fresh and stable. And I think the only thing that's missing is that the parachain is collated, and again, that should take about an hour. I can actually get you that information right now. Let me see. And after that, see, testnet dot seed. And after that, cherry.place will be updated. And after that, we will have a EVM parachain deployed on testnet. So, I mean, it's unfortunate we have the AMA right now because this testnet parachain onboarding has been initiated. It requires a whole bunch of blocks, and the calculated onboarding lifecycle end will be in, I now have the number in front of me, 25 minutes. So if we just had it 25 minutes from now, I could have officially stated that the EVM is launched. But regardless, I think we can consider it launched. Due to the last minute adjustments, etc., I now don't really believe that I can provide any more of a technical description of this achievement beside and beyond what I've already described over the past few weeks and months. What I will do instead is just summarize what this achievement means, take a step back and sort of admire the work so far accomplished, and perhaps at the end lay out for the next steps in the very short term, and then the next big objective, since this that we now hit is, I think, among the most significant of this year. Okay, so and I'm glad to say another developer will be joining us, so I'll be so checked in my technical statements. But as I said, I'll first provide with a general overview of what we've accomplished so far. In December, we launched the relay feature to the Cherry network. The Cherry network therefore became a layer 0. Layer 0 is a scaling architecture that allows apps to be deployed as separate, essentially state machines that work concurrently with the relay chain. They share among each other through the relay chain certain principles and data and features, certain truths, consensus, but they're able to express features and express capabilities that if deployed all in a single chain, all in a single network, like a layer one, such as Ethereum, etc., it would have this negative effect of slowing the network, of adding too much feature set to a single distributed system that would slow everything down and make the experience of any one particular feature worse. So we adopted this layer zero. Layer zero has been a scaling mechanism, under development, and I think that's been finally validated maybe 2 years ago. We were quite certain of this scaling method. When we started Cherry, but we hadn't really expected to use Cherry as a layer one, rather just or as a layer zero, rather just making a layer one with its own specific purposes. Again, not a general purpose system, but rather specified to simple data storage and data operations, with the addition of interoperability channels that would allow it to express these features onto other chains, other networks. We've quickly realized that this interoperability option wasn't optimal due to a variety of reasons that I think are out of the scope of this conversation. And instead, we are now, or we've chosen to explore the relay scaling opportunity, again, to fill some of these gaps that interoperability alone would not fill by themselves. So that brings us to the pretty much largest accomplishment of last year after the mainnet deployment. As we're working on that, we also let me see if there we go. We do have a developer joining us, so he'll hopefully have something within 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll wrap up this what I'm saying now. Slightly before the end, of course, of the relay chain, we had already planned a few parachains that would be of interest to develop. Of course, the most developed, the most used, the most known ecosystem for smart contracts is Ethereum and the Ethereum virtual machine. And since Cherry aims to be this purpose-specific offering, this purpose-specific product to empower developers and smart contracts deployed on these distributed systems with data, the most obvious option was purpose could be expressed, could be accessed on this on the largest just we're saying calls on the largest developer ecosystem there. And so, of course, we the first objective was to build an Ethereum compatibility parachain, in short. Now, through this long winding road, I don't think I need to recount all the various issues and how we decided to face them. I provided an overview over the past few weeks, and in particular last week, where I traced back the choices and the decision and the logic we've applied. Anybody to develop and deploy Solidity code interacts with all these other networks that I described, so Ethereum, Polygon, BNB chain, etc., that all apply the same Ethereum virtual machine system platform. But for now, I think we can step back and state that Cherry, once a purpose-specific product, really. Network product, just focusing on storage, has now scaled into being a relay chain that can support its main purpose and different vehicles of expressing and accessing this core product that stays the core of our offering of our development, with this novel and, we believe, highly scalable solution of relay chain layer 0. Ethereum is the first expression of this. There'll be many others, but EVM basically means that you can now access, or eventually will be able to access, the product of Cherry with its efficient transaction speeds and all the other things, exactly as you would if you were developing on Ethereum, but unimpinged by the downsides of using Ethereum, mainly the fees, the large network load, and the lack of features such as, namely the one that we aim to build and have been building, such as storage. Now, if Fotis has anything to add to this, I'll be happy to shut up. Otherwise, I'll just continue on with the second part of what I would do, which is tracing the next steps. But Fotis, go ahead if you have anything to say.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you covered pretty much everything. The only thing I want to know is that the parachain will be connected to a relay chain in around 15 minutes. People will be able to see the onboarding process and how long it takes. But we should be live in 15 minutes. Well, I think that's all pretty much, unless we have any questions.
There might be a problem with Fotis' connection. Can you hear him, Owen?
Yeah. I can hear him. He just asked if there was any questions. And one question that popped up in the last few days was, what kind of extra tooling is very important now for people to really be able to get their hands on Cherry functionality, whether on testnet, obviously on testnet, in an EVM compatible way. What are the next steps from your perspective in terms of things that needed to be that need to be added so developers can develop in this kind of new environment?
Who's that for?
I think that was for, someone just asked about it, a question that could be posed to the devs. So yourself or Fotis, if you could kind of give your views on that, maybe.
I'll take this. I think Fotis is busy with the very last few minutes of the EVM deployment. So I think my connection isn't great, but I didn't fully get the question. To use this system that we're now deploying now, Ethereum, you just need to deploy. You just need to interact with it and think of it exactly as you would as an EVM, as the EVM on Ethereum. We'll give out an RPC endpoint that you can connect with your MetaMask if you're a user, with your Ethers or Web3.js, PY, whatever, to interact with smart contracts, and then you just upload bytecode. call functions, you create transaction exactly as you would on Ethereum. The two other components necessary for its use, given its deployment style, it is a parachain. Given the fact that it doesn't itself have its own, let's say, transaction fee currency. Rather, it has this this abstraction of Cherry called P-Chair. The one thing you need to do is just get this P-Chair. So any tokens you have on your Cherry relay chain, be it on testnet now or mainnet once the EVM parachain is deployed, you need to transfer it over to the EVM parachain via Cherry.place, the same old blockchain interface we know and love. The Cherry will therefore become P-Share, so parachain Cherry. And the parachain Cherry can now be shared between the substrate address and the Ethereum address associated with it. More details will follow, but as far as how would developers use this specific feature, they would use it just as they would with Ethereum. And what is missing? Well, nothing really is missing. RPC is there. You can just connect with it. The one additional UI element that we just need to just deploy, it's a matter of deployment now, is this the transfer system between the relay chain and parachain. So maybe before we conclude, I'll also share some thoughts about the future. And not just some thoughts. I don't want to be too abstract all the time. The next steps in the very short term will be to finalize this deployment. It's been quite a ride, but I think we're finally there. It's just a matter of, as I said, doing this Cherry.place update, adding these UI elements, adding the endpoints, publishing, so adding the WebSocket endpoints to Cherry.place, publishing the RPC endpoint to connect with the various Ethereum clients. After that, and after maybe a few hours, perhaps a day of the parachain running smoothly on testnet, and there shouldn't really be any problems with that, we will launch our bounty. Now, the bounty, we've already given some information about that in previous AMAs. It's useless to state anything further about that now, but it will allow us developers to receive inputs from the community who uses this new system we developed, and respond to any feedback, adjust any bugs, etc. A more thorough description, of course, of this bounty will be provided in documentation detailing exactly what the bounty involves. Within maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I don't know what is found, but hopefully we can be optimistic. It can be more toward the 6-week mark after the bounty is complete, and the bounty will go on as long as it's necessary. I'm guessing 7 days, maybe 14. The EVM parachain currently deployed on testnet will be then deployed on mainnet. With all that comes with it, not necessary to explain all that now. And then Cherry will be officially not just in testing, but in practice and in mainnet and its production environment, fully compatible with Ethereum. We'll have a lot of partnerships that will and announcements that will follow that we've been working on for many months now in view of this eventual EVM compatibility. Owen, perhaps, and the team can speak more about that. So that will open up a whole new sort of biz dev conversation that we can certainly have some other time. But we'll certainly have a lot of busy months after EVM compatibility, since it does involve making Cherry so much more open to developers, projects seeking to develop not complex systems with platforms such as Ink or Rust that are perhaps less maintained, less documented, but rather just using the same old Solidity code that they've been using for years and years on Ethereum. The next big update, as I see it, will be many months down, and it will involve getting a good enough version of our storage product to get it not just in the hands of, partners of ours that we handpick and work with specifically, but to the general public, be it either developers or later on either with integrations or by third-party interfaces and products to the public. We will definitely have a lot of time to discuss about that, but that's the timeline. If you have any questions about that timeline, I'll be happy to answer them, but I think it's best that we focus on this more pressing matter of getting EVM deployment complete. And I can certainly, collect these questions if you have any about this longer term plan, either on the business front of how we plan to attract talent, attract projects, thanks to EVM once it's running on mainnet, or even longer term about how this all fits into the broader mission of Cherry. And I'll address all those in later AMAs.
Thanks very much, Herman. Very cool update. We've a lot of the community have been enthusiastic and waiting for this, and it's a very important milestone in terms of, as you mentioned, the business development side of things. As Herman was made reference to there are a lot of things that we've been working on behind the scenes, which are very much bolstered by the upcoming full EVM compatibility launch. And as Herman mentioned, we can expand the range of partnerships that we intend to announce as well over the coming few weeks, especially when EVM compatibility hits the mainnet itself. Further to that, we just as a kind of general comment, it's great to see the hard work that the developers have been doing. This is very much something that then can assist the business side of things. It's been a big focus of the project over the past few weeks to get this EVM compatibility over the line. And now that it's pretty much there, barring any bug fixes, then that also frees up some of our energies to look at expanding the return and the progress that we've made from the business side of things and from marketing as well. So all in all, a great day for the company. I'm going to actually ask John there. I can't see any questions of note in the chat. People seem happy about the EVM launch, so that's good. But I'll proceed with some of the things that I prepared to speak to you about. I believe that John has these up on the screen at the moment, so I'll just jump in and proceed. As I mentioned a moment ago, there are things that have been ready to launch, things that we've been working on while the developers have been busy, that we can now push forward. As I mentioned last week, we've been putting in some time and effort on the dimension of trying to really expand our contacts and our networking with developers in the Web3 space. There's a tremendous amount of energy in the space at the moment. And we've been going out to, trade events, conferences and the like over the past few weeks, speaking to people, making good contacts, and also getting feedback on where they see the their needs being in the near future in terms of what business offerings they need to have, what kind of things they're working on that we can capitalize on, so we can put ourselves at the forefront of the uplift that we're currently seeing in the Web3 industry, in the crypto industry. The waters are a little choppy at the moment still, but there is a tremendous amount of optimism and a huge amount of work being done by some very energetic people. And we want to hitch our wagon to that and see the company and the project grow as we manage to offer things and help these developers, bring their projects to market. This is something we've spoken about in last week, I believe, is that in terms of our positioning, and this is something that people have asked about, Cherry's product market fit, so to speak. We get very strong validation from people within the industry, in terms of they want to be able to do things with smart contracts that they're incredibly limited with at the moment. The entire Web3 kind of sales pitch to the business world, to the public, is of decentralization, and much of what exists in terms of decentralized file storage is not quite business ready, I would say, or it's limited. And as Herman said, the next big upgrade, the next big milestone for our talented developers will be to bring the decentralized file storage module to a wider developer audience, so to speak, in that it can be used by anyone. It doesn't require much interaction from our team, which is the case at the moment, for people building on Cherry. So that will be quite promising as well. And it's just been very encouraging to hear people. This has always been the case, going back months and months and months, years, if not years, from when you do speak to people that are building in this space. That's really our target market, and when you speak to them, they are quite excited about some of the things that we're making. So while we are always reappraising what areas to focus on, which Herman spoke about 2 weeks ago, we're still at the same time very confident, and growing increasingly confident in our core value proposition to the developer community. And that's really going to be our focus. We think, and we've said this before, that having a strong developer focus is going to be the secret and the key ingredient to our future success, as we hope to see it. In that, a lot of other projects kind of just, they're more focused on drumming up endless hype, or they're focused on signing expensive deals with non-Web3 companies and sponsorship and stuff like that, and paying for, Formula One cars to carry your logo or something like that. I mean, we could do that, but it wouldn't be very beneficial in the short term, and in the long term, it's very much at odds with where we see the project going, which is more of a product that is focused. It's built for builders, I suppose, would be a way to put it. So, reaching out and talking to developers in their native habitat, so to speak, has been very encouraging, and it's been quite fruitful over the past few weeks. In tandem with this, as some of you are aware, Diego, representing our native ecosystem launchpad, was in a Web3 discussion Twitter space yesterday. It was quite good. We're hoping to be able to join in as many of these as possible over the next few weeks and represent the project well. On Friday, I think at about 2 p.m. UTC, I'll be speaking quite appropriately, given the launch today. I'll be speaking about some of the things going on in the Ethereum space and how they pertain to and how they will affect other Web3 projects in a Twitter space with a lot of other very clued in and very intelligent people, very educated people that it'll be good to talk to and get their views in a Twitter space that's been organized by um, uh, uh, the same guys that did the one yesterday, and that'll be on Friday at 2 p.m. So that should be fun. Um, I will confirm the actual time because I'm not sure. The guys have to get back to me and tell me exactly when that will be. Aside from that, moving on, as Herman said, we have a bug bounty forthcoming, which will last 7 or 10 days or however long it takes, really. He also mentioned, and going back to the question that I asked in terms of what, or the question that someone asked me to ask, really, in terms of what other things are needed. There's a couple of things that need to be added, but overall, it is in terms of testnet anyway, a ready to ready for development environment, the EVM Cherry Link. So that's quite promising. Hackathons as well. I mentioned before. We're still in the let's say medium stages of figuring out exactly how we're going to run these hackathons, where we're going to run them, etc. It'll be fun though. And just on that note, we will have events kicking off back again in the next couple of months. The team is quite busy, so the events aren't a huge focus of ours at the moment, but it is certainly something that everybody enjoys, and I think it brings an extra level of transparency and camaraderie, I suppose, to the project. So that will be kicking off soon, especially now that we have these extra things to celebrate and the expected increased business development, etc. Will provide interesting material to discuss with you guys when we go back out into the wider world and have some cool meetups in various places over the next few months. That'll be fun too. In terms of marketing, we've been kind of reaching out to and talking to some of the cool people, companies, opinion leaders that have, expressed publicly their interest in our project. So we're going to try and maybe update them with the kind of key messaging that we would like them to share around, and that's usually a good way because they're often quite trusted figures in this space, and then we'll be able to get some momentum and juice from that as they explain to their followers, and many of them have very large followings. They'll explain to their followers what Cherry does and why it's interesting, etc. I mentioned as well, and I think Herman said this as well during his piece a couple of weeks ago. We're going to as well examine and improve how we communicate Cherry's core value proposition to the audience through video, through blogs, through the website, which will be updated, etc., etc. So that would be an easier way to get in front of people and really succinctly explain what Cherry does and why they should work with us and why they should build on Cherry, whether they're working with us or not, or whether they're just plugging into what we've built. Again, this is one of the beauties of EVM compatibility. It means that they don't have to build with us. They don't have to, wait around for us, or they don't have to engage with us in that respect, because it's just plug and play, and they can use the functionality that Cherry provides in their business offerings without needing too many contact points with anyone. So that's kind of the whole beauty of EVM compatibility and the compatibilities with the other environments that Herman mentioned will be forthcoming in the next few months as well. Furthermore, we have lots of more meatier content to put out in terms of discussions of our tokenomics, where Cherry is going, etc. I think now that we have EVM launch, we'll probably do a newsletter in the next few days. The announcements about EVM will be following on our social channels in a couple of hours. They're already done, so we just got to push them out. So that's quite exciting as well. But yeah, keep an eye on our blog, and also we'll probably have some PR activity as well just to get the good word of what we've been doing out to people. Because yeah, it is something for us all to be proud of in the team, especially the developers, and also in the community, because you guys' support did help us get to where we are. And then, as I mentioned before, we've been exploring how to convey the message of the different things slightly supplementarily to Cherry's core value proposition. We'll talk about things like how Cherry can help people who are building with a privacy focus, etc. That will unfold in the next few weeks as well. And we're going to try and pace everything. As Herman said, there's going to be a bit of a longer gap between the big updates because, for example, the decentralized file storage it really is a very challenging technical undertaking. We will be we will be making sure to have a constant momentum of things being released, updated, etc., from a marketing, business, and at times development perspective, so that we really keep the tempo up and keep showing people that there's a lot being done behind the scenes at Cherry at the moment. On that note, actually, with regards to the Cherry office hour, which we did a couple of weeks ago, which was cool. We were intended to do that again this Friday, but given the fact that I'll be speaking in a Twitter space that isn't going to go ahead this week, I'll either do it early next week, or depending on the schedule of things that will be released, I'll do that at the end of next week. And then the final thing I wanted to add, which I actually forgot to put the picture in. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had an extra thing to add to the slides. It's a screenshot of our web store. A lot of people are still asking about, and they should, as they should, about our merch that we have ready. I'm just going to actually add that while Marv is speaking about Cherish in a moment, and then we can I'll just give you a sneak preview of the store, which I think we can kick off and release in the next few hours, in the next couple of days. We'll see how we're doing in terms of our workload for other stuff, but it's all there and it's ready to go. So
if you want to, when I can give people a sneak peek, because I'm wearing a couple of pieces right now.
That'd be cool. That'd be great. Yeah. And
just open up my camera right here.
Looking good, Marv.
Got the Cherry hat and the hoodie. I'll show you my backside, but not all of it. And some awesome embroidery on the back. I'm really, really looking forward to people getting their hands on this, as I am rocking it every single day, everywhere I go.
Yeah, I currently have my Cherry t-shirt on at the moment, but that's from the old merch drop, so to speak. So we'll have the new and improved Cherry threads are forthcoming very soon. We might even do it this evening. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Marvin, do you want to jump in and give your update about Cherish? I know there's been some cool things going on there.
Sure thing. Always excited to talk here. Definitely on an exciting day for Cherry Network as a general. For Cherish, everything's been going smoothly. As I mentioned last week in the AMA, we are currently testing out the platform with some creators from the community, some creators close to us, maybe some listening in. We've been talking to them, seeing if they wanted to participate, and they've started to get their hands on the Cherry limited test. Give me a second, I misplaced some of my notes. And so the limited access test is going on. The next step for us would be then the users to start testing, because we need to populate the test website first with some of the contents that creators will be posting on there. And then the users can go in and mess around with that and spot some bugs if there are any. And then we can take all of that feedback into account, do another update of the website, and start iterating that way, growing to a final product. Then we have another creator spotlight coming in for you guys tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that for sure. And then Cherish update number 10 is on the way as well. I know John's been working hard on that, giving some more insights on algorithmic developments in the social media space. So that will be an exciting read. Then finally, onboarding continues, strengthening our ties with the creator community and making sure they are in the know of what is going down at the creator network. That is Cherish. That'll be all for Cherish right now. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Marv. Cool things going on at Cherish. Good to see. I think we've gone a little bit over time, but that's not a problem. I'll leave you now with John, who will dish up today's quiz questions, and then I'll announce the winners in the chat over the next 24 hours or so. And in the meantime, we'll have some other things to discuss with you in our Cherry chat. Questions will be answered and stuff like that. So tomorrow I'll be able to publish the details of the Twitter space that we'll be participating in as speakers. But as I said, it will happen on Friday afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for supporting us as we reach another milestone in Cherry's development expansion. And I'll speak to you guys later and tomorrow and every day as usual. So thanks guys, and see you later.